So I am reading The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, and I'm on the spring chapter, and I'm writing notes to hopefully, put out a video for you guys about the book. I was sitting here typing out my summary of that part of the chapter in a way that feels conducive to me just saying it. So I thought, I guess I would get a little bit practice filming. So this was a bomb ass scene. Like, it was long, but it was really good. So it opens up describing the pain that the children feel when springtime comes around. Like, the beatings that their parents give them around springtime are so bad, worse than, like, they almost prefer the wintertime, freezing cold, because the beatings aren't as bad, because that is sinister, that is insidious. But it's like, life is like, abused children, I would assume their experiences are akin to that. Like, so that was like, the descriptors were amazing. The descriptors were amazing, and just that, capturing that essence of like the fear that's like automatically instilled in children. It's just crazy. His father beats up Mr. Henry. It's like, so Claudia's like laying out in the sun, having her a nice good old time, just chilling out in the yard, and she comes back in the house to find out that mom is in the kitchen, like, being weird. She goes upstairs and Frida is in bed crying. She's like, Frida, did you she said, Frida, did you get a whooping? Frida's like, no, I did not get a whooping. She's like, well, what you crying for? And then she starts describing like all these events that led up to Mr. Henry getting beat up, and the reason is because he touched her. And the scene is written so beautifully, because I find humor in how the two of them were going back and forth over such a serious topic. Like, the way Claudia was questioning her was so like childish and funny, even though, it was a very traumatic event happening. And, Frida being a child as well, she's not, seeing the things that Frida is saying as inappropriate. She's just, answering her sister's questions because they're just, silly children, I guess. And not silly in like a mean way or like a derogatory way, but just, kids are very light about stuff. So yeah, Mr. Henry got beat up, and what happens? They're talking about how one of the neighbors came over and was like, you need to go get that little girl checked because she might be ruined. And then, the mom went crazy again, and then they started talking about the two of them go down this path of like, worst case scenario is that Frida is going to end up a sex worker like Miss Marie, and she's going to need alcohol to get through it. Something like that. So they're like, okay, I'm going to need that, but I can't afford it. And they're like, oh, well, Picola's dad is always drunk, so let's go find her and get some money from them. So they trek in to see Picola. They get to her house. They see Miss Marie. Frida says to Miss Marie, we can't come up, because she's begging them to go upstairs to wait for Picola. We can't come to your house because my mama says you ruined. Miss Marie threw a bottle down at the little girl, laughing at them hysterically, like in a way that scared the piss out of them. So much so that they compared her laugh to getting a beating at home. which goes back to that opening scene that described the pain. Like, this lady was laughing at them that bad that it's worse than springtime beatings that you just described was the worst thing ever. Yeah. Sinister as fuck. So what happens after that? What happens after that? They leave there and they go to, so Picola's at her mom's job. They walking, and it talked about, like, you know, how as they're walking, they're seeing the progression of, like, the neighborhood. Better yards, better, you know, home structures, better things outside, like, as they're walking to this place. And, you know, we come upon this beautiful home of a white family that Picola's mother works for. And they get inside and the mom, like, tells them, do not move. I'm going downstairs to get the laundry for you to take. Y'all two can walk back home. Y'all two can walk back home with Picola, but stand right here straight and narrow. So they're marveling at what the inside of the house looks like. They see dinner up on the stove, and then they notice a pie. So they get, I think somebody, like, Picola was waving her hand towards the pot to see if it was hot, because they're like, that was foreign to them, seeing a hot pie on the stove next to dinner. So one of them just had to see if it was hot to confirm. So Picola is swiping her hand over the pot. It flips over, splatters onto the floor. It's all over her legs. Her mom comes upstairs, is screaming at her, like, hitting her, abusing her physically, verbally, and throws the three of them out of the house and makes them leave. But it's comforting. Oh, so the white child who lived at that home comes out, and she's scared before anything even happens. And as the mother comes upstairs, she's comforting the white child. She's comforting the white child. Talking about all this abuse, and we get to the end of the chapter, and this little girl who probably had an easy, like, the day these two girls just had, and the day this little white girl probably had, and she's getting comforted. Or not even that, just the life that Picola lives, and her having to endure that. It's crazy. That was a really fucking good chapter.